A 3-foot steel fence nearly cost me the house I'd spent my whole life building. No kidding. One morning I stepped outside, coffee in hand, and there it was, a gleaming metal barricade right across my gate, so out of place it might as well have landed from outer space. And slapped right in the middle a sign, "No Entry. HOA violation in progress." I actually laughed out loud, then realized it wasn't a joke. Thing is, that fence didn't just cut off my driveway. It sliced straight across what I'd always believed was a public walkway, the one my late wife Sarah and I used to stroll every night, back when a little fresh air was all that brought her comfort during those endless rounds of chemo. We'd walk hand in hand, saying hardly anything, just soaking in the quiet. And now that little piece of peace gone buried under 3 feet of ugly steel mesh, courtesy of the new HOA president. Her name was Vivian Ashcroft. She showed up at my door a few weeks before the fence with a clipboard and that perfect, soulless smile, the kind that says, "I'm about to ruin your day, and there's nothing you can do about it." She didn't even sit down. Just started rattling off violations: grass a 1/4 inch too high, mailbox a shade off-white porch light, a few lumens too bright. Then she dropped the real bomb. "I'll need a copy of your gate key, Mr. Blackwood, and keys to any outbuildings or sheds. You want what standard procedure? For safety inspections." I remember staring at her like she'd asked for my social security number. Not the house she insisted, but her tone made it clear she wanted access to everything. So I said no, flat out. I didn't even soften it, because this house with Sarah's garden still blooming, her painting still on the wall, was all I had left of her. I wasn't about to hand over the keys to someone who saw my home as just another compliance problem. That's when the war started. Letters every day, all from different lawyers, all threatening further action. Then came the cameras. Little black eyes cropping up overnight, one on the street, one at my mailbox, another pointed straight through my living room window. When I complained, the city said the cameras were on public property. Concerned citizen, the permit read, right. Next, the trash pickup stopped. Violation of neighborhood waste management protocol, the notice said, because I'd put my bins out 12 hours too early. Suddenly, neighbors I'd known for years wouldn't even look at me. I became the guy people whispered about like I'd caught some sort of suburban leprosy. Except for Earl. Old Earl Hutchins, who's lived here longer than anyone, kept walking his golden retriever past my fence, shaking his head at the whole circus. One morning he leaned in and said, "Work crew showed up around midnight, had all the permits. Vivian was here running the show." Then he trailed off, looking like he wanted to say more. It wasn't until Earl showed up again, coffee in hand, that I got the first real twist. "You know," he said, "Vivian tried to buy your place back when Sarah was sick. Sent one of those we buy houses fast offers, way below market." I felt my jaw clench. "Sarah intercepted it, told her exactly where she could put her offer," Earl said. "Point is, this isn't about grass height. It's about that back path. Your lot sits right on the only legal access to Main Street. Without it, any new development here is dead in the water." Now, I'm a civil engineer. Property lines, right-of-way, that's my bread and butter. So I started digging. 3 days in the courthouse, wading through dusty records, and I founded a surveyor's map from 1923 showing the walkway behind my house as a permanent public right-of-way protected by the city. Not just that, but half the common area the HOA claimed was actually city property. Vivian's fence, her cameras, her no trespassing signs, they were all on land she had no right to touch. Armed with my new ammo, I hired an attorney, Rebecca Martinez. We filed a formal complaint, sent Vivian a cease and desist letter, and waited. Instead of her usual flurry of threats, she went silent. 3 days of total calm, no letters, no cameras, nothing. It felt like the calm before a tornado. That's when Maya Chen entered the picture. Maya's a property rights blogger, the kind who can turn an HOA horror story viral before breakfast. She dug deeper than I ever could, found out Vivian had pulled the same stunt with 3 other families, all sitting on land, critical for development, all eventually forced out. The playbook was always the same: complaints, legal threats, cameras, trash cutoff, isolation. One family had even caved and sold for pennies on the dollar. But Maya found something else, a 10-year-old accident report. Back when Vivian was active in all the local child safety groups, there'd been a tragedy on the very walkway behind my house. A delivery truck, bad lighting, and an 8-year-old boy named Tommy Ashcroft, Vivian's son, killed instantly. After that, Vivian vanished from public life and resurfaced years later as an HOA president on a crusade. Suddenly, her obsession made a terrible kind of sense. The fence wasn't about development, it was about trying to erase a piece of ground she saw as cursed. But her grief didn't make what she'd done any less illegal. And when I woke up one morning to find the water shut-off foundation dug up by emergency repairs and a notice on my door about imminent code violations, I knew she was doubling down. The police said the HOA had all the right paperwork. Emergency safety coordinator, the report called her. I nearly lost it. I almost quit. I was one signature away from selling my home and running. But instead I started sketching. If Vivian wanted to box me in, fine, I'd just go over her head. Literally. I drew up plans for a pedestrian bridge from my second-story window up and over the fence, landing on the protected public walkway. Fully code-compliant, permitted and assembled in a single day by a crew of contractors who got a kick out of the story. "Lady blocks your gate, so you build a bridge, man, that's cold," one of them said, grinning. Sunday morning, while Vivian was out, the crew arrived. By the time she came home, there it was, 30 feet of aluminum with safety railings and LED lights gleaming in the sun. The neighbors came out to watch. Kids set up a lemonade stand, and Mrs. Patterson live-streamed the whole thing. Vivian stared at my bridge like she was seeing a ghost. Then she started screaming at the cops, at the city inspector, at anyone who would listen. But the city inspector just shrugged. "Bridge is legal, fence is not. You'll need to remove the fence, or the city will." The crowd cheered well, some clapped, some just filmed for posterity. Then Vivian did something nobody expected. She turned, looked down that walkway, and all the fight drained out of her. "People can't use that path. It's not safe. Children," she mumbled, hands trembling so bad you could see it from across the street. Earl gave me a look like he'd known all along this was never just about property. Later, I found Vivian sitting alone at the edge of the path. "His bike was blue," she said quietly. "He saved up for months." I sat down, letting the anger drain away. "I know you see danger here," I said, "but this is the last place Sarah found peace." We sat in silence, finally seeing each other for real. We ended up working out an agreement. The bridge would stay, and together we'd install better lighting, clear up sight lines, and build a little memorial garden for Tommy right where the path meets Main Street. The HOA recognized the public access, and Vivian resigned, finally letting herself start to heal. The harassment stopped. Neighbors slowly drifted back. 6 months later, I watched kids play in Tommy's garden, laughter ringing out where grief once ruled. Even Vivian was smiling for the first time since I'd known her. Sometimes the real war isn't over fences or keys, it's over pain we don't talk about. And the only way through is to build a bridge, literally or otherwise. So have you ever realized someone's crazy behavior made perfect sense when you heard their story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Maybe your experience will help someone see their own conflict in a new light. If this story moved you, hit like, share, and subscribe for more. Let's keep building bridges one story at a time.